Hello and welcome to the Bubble Battlefield edition of Eggnogg Tours. For this, I'll be talking about some of the thought process behind the making of this stage, as I am the creator along with some of my friends that also play the game. And I'll also talk about some interesting things you can do on each stage and some things that my friends and I discovered that you can do in the game. First, on the first stage, you kind of spawn in this pit, and as you approach the exits, it will go up towards the exit. One of the things in Eggnogg is that whoever approaches and makes the first move towards the opponent is kind of at a disadvantage a lot of the time, because then the other person can react. And that's just something that my friends and I have noticed is a thing. So a lot of times you don't really want to go and fight the other person. You kind of like just run away and wait a lot of the time. So by starting you off in a pit, it kind of encourages that you actually fight the other person right away and get a kill and start the match going usually pretty quickly. So at the start of this in this map, there are some things you can do just in the pit. There's a lot of like tech things that you can employ, like making sure you're moving around as fast as possible with like your jumps and sliding off of the edges when you can, and doing like double jumps off of the little lips on the edge of the pit like there to turn around quickly. Stuff like that is really important, like getting out of the pit, this big pit, and kind of fighting in the pit. And one thing that I figured out, I think I've talked about it in one of my previous videos, when you're on the right side and you're clinging onto a wall like so, you can kind of do this kick around the corner and you get a different animation. But this only works when you're going from right to left. When you're going from left to right, you can't actually get the same thing. However, what we did find out, from going left to right, you can jump as you go around the corner. However, going from right to left, you can't do the same thing. So what this means for from going left to right, you can jump and then just kick midair like this. So it's basically the same as kicking around the corner here, just a little bit different, but you get kind of the same effect. So that's really useful, being able to go around corners with a kick. Okay, moving on to the second stage. The intent with this stage, this was supposed to be a kind of fun stage, and it turned into a pretty crazy stage. The original idea was to kind of have a path up and then kind of like a tunnel below where you could also choose to go. So you have like two options, you could go up or down. And that idea still kind of works, but we realized you need to have some way or multiple ways to move up and down, or else if one person like spawns up here while the other person is just moving underneath, it's really unfair, and then they can just kind of get past you uncontested. So we have several openings with these platforms here to kind of make it easier to get out of the underground, the pit there, and some spikes with a mine in the middle. The mines always lead to some interesting things with swords bouncing around, like so. And the ceiling spikes underneath make it so you can't, like, obviously you can't jump while you're underneath or else you'll die. And another interesting thing it brings up is if you're ever in a position like this, and when you spawn, if you hold up key, you'll kind of spawn and bounce up immediately when you spawn. If you hold it to the right or left, you'll do the same thing but kind of move towards the right or left as you spawn. And if you hold down, you'll just stay on the ground, or if you don't hold anything at all. So you have to be careful on this stage to not hold up like there as you spawn, or you'll like bounce immediately into the spikes, and that's not good because you die right away. So that's something to be wary of on this stage. And a cool thing, getting out of the pits, it's useful to kind of do throws like that as you exit the pit. That will help you get attack out as you leave the pit. And it also, as I've talked about in previous videos, doing an attack of any kind resets your jumps. So you notice there I jumped much more than the 3 times that you're usually able to do on the walls. And just with other pits, you can do kicks and stuff along the edges, like that, or as I've been doing while talking, to optimize like getting out of the pit in certain situations. It's really about like reading the situation and trying to choose what's most appropriate. And finally on this stage, there's like some indentations on the ceiling. That's just to kind of make more interesting throws, because it can bounce in the corner. Like, you know, I don't know. It just makes it a bit, adds a bit more variability to the stage and makes it more interesting. Okay, moving on to the third stage. There's this little thing here, and it makes it kind of interesting. Like when you leave the stage, you can kind of jump downwards off of that, because countless times you're leaving and someone might angle throw and barely get you. So being able to like wait and jump or something like that using this ensures your safety. But mainly on this stage, the first thing is someone going to go up here or are they going to go down? And I've seen a lot of like, oh, I'm going to go up, no, I'm going to go down, just like kind of dancing around there quite a bit. So that's always interesting on this stage. And then again, it moves on, you can either go up or down. Now I'm going to talk about something that we intended to do with this stage, and then we're like, basically, this idea here was that if you're moving across from left to right in this stage, you can only go on the lower path here, so you only have one option, because trying to jump to that platform there, you can't quite make it, and if you jump here, you kind of hit your head on the ceiling, and it makes it so you can't. However, as I just did there, if you're going the other way, you can slide around that little nub on the ceiling and actually make it across. So that way, the person who's like defending, and if you're coming back, you can actually, you have more options, so it's like a slight advantage. However, I did it once while I was just talking here. We found something that basically messed up this whole idea. And instead of jumping while you're on the ground, you can, I'll kind of do like a slow motion version here. You can jump and then jump off the edge of the wall there. And wall jumps, not only do you go further, I believe, than a normal jump, you also kind of take off at a lower angle. So what this does, it actually allows you to get across going either direction. So it kind of negated the fact that there was a disadvantage. And then it was also true that, there, that was a pretty good one there. You can kind of just like stop moving as you approach the edge and barely kind of drop down and hit it. So you don't even like really have to turn around. I got a few pretty good ones there. So that was something that kind of messed with the whole idea of having that there. Finally, there's this mine here. We haven't really found a super good use for it yet, but it just makes the stage a bit more interesting. Oh, actually, I wanted to show one more thing on that stage before I left. Was this... Yeah, I think I want to do it on this stage. When you're jumping, you can... It's kind of like a double jump, and it was found by someone. Shoutouts to Dane, who kind of popularized this. We shortened it to Dane and jump, so the dump is that jump. So you jump, and then instead of kind of like jumping off the wall there, you do it at an angle where you don't even have to change your direction, and you can just double jump off of the edge of something. So that's a really useful jump that just gives you more options when you're moving around. The fourth stage, this is more of a simple stage that dropping down from here as the attacker, it's kind of hard to do anything as you drop down, so it gives the person defending a bit of an advantage. And we kind of did this so that games would last a bit longer and you have more chances to come back as you're defending. Of course, on the opposite side of the stage, it's a bit of the opposite. It's more like you can kind of go up and just run away onto the final stage, but that's all is good. This is also a place where you can employ the dump, if I can do it. Oh, and yeah, you can get up to the upper platform there. And here you gotta be careful not to like be kicking over the water, or you'll just end up dying. And finally, getting out of this place, there's a few ways to mix up your like exit. You can try and, I got on the first one, like do little jumps off of that edge there to delay your exit and make things a bit more interesting. Finally, the fifth stage, the fifth and final stage. One thing, first I'll go over kind of the outline of the stage. You have this mine here, And you can do the mine jump ordeal to help you get up here as you're exiting, or you could just jump from here, or just do several wall jumps. So leaving the stage, you got plenty of options. And then there's this platform up here. This platform, highlighted by the little sun in the background there. This was to allow you to do two things when you leave this stage. As I kill myself, die. Basically, you could either go up here and then come down here, or just go straight down from like here, just normal run all the way to the end. Of course, the next stage is like the winning room, or whatever you want to call it. And the way you do this, originally, you have to do a mine jump there, which takes some time, and you might not always get it every time. So it makes this advantage of having two options going up or down. There's kind of like a price you have to pay to actually use it. And of course I miss it on the first try, but the only way to get across is to actually stab. You have to have a sword. If you don't have a sword and you just try and jump, you can't quite make it because you hit your head on the ceiling there and it kind of interrupts your motion. However, similar to the whole ordeal I talked about on the third stage, you can do the little jump thing if you don't have a sword. Okay, I'll do it once just to show you. And if I don't, I am going to cut. Okay, so I got it once. But yeah, you can use that jump thing to get to the above ground there. And then, yeah, again, there are these spikes here that kind of inhibit your movement when you're coming down to make it a bit another disadvantage, kind of to using it an advantage, if that makes any sense. So you have to really think about whether you want to use that option. However, when you are presented with a problem, you will often find the solution to that problem. And that right there is the solution to the whole ordeal of doing this mine jump and even doing that. It takes some time. So instead, you do this nifty trick, which not only looks cool, but it's very useful. So in slow motion, what is that? So it's, we'll break it down. It's you jump and then jump off of the edge of this platform here. More in depth, you jump and do a jump with a kick off of that platform there. You'll notice that a jump with a kick gives you a bit more of a boost, I guess you could say. And then finally, you use the mine. You use the boost from the mine. You trigger the mine and then time it so the mine boosts you with your jump kick, and you're able to reach to the top platform there. And I've been doing it backwards, but you could also do it facing forwards there. Unfortunately, since your kick is out for so long, if someone's waiting for you up here, if your kick gets them, it won't actually do any damage or knockback. And of course, these mines around this stage, you can still do all the normal mine things. You can boost your throws, so you can get all kinds of fun things. There's a throw at an angle, you could shoot it up there. There's an angle where you can get your throw and boost it down into there to get a nifty snipe if you're getting the right angle on your throw. So the mines add an interesting flair to this last stage. And now before I wrap up this video for the last stage, I'm going to show you a fun little glitch to end off the video. I'm not sure it's a glitch, but it's like a little bit of an infinite. So let's see if I can get it. I haven't done this in a while. Okay. I always find this a little bit funny. So what happened, you have one person sticking to the wall. He's up here. And then this person is sticking to the wall beneath them. And the person above them is kind of like constantly falling and then getting knocked back up and falling. And it creates this like little, yeah, not sure what to call that, but it was pretty funny if you ask me. And then I think, if I remember correctly, again, I haven't done this in a while, but you can also like grab onto a sword. Oh, what's up? Yeah, and it's a bit different. I think it was if the person with the sword is on top. Let me just try this. Huh. Okay, I'm not sure what I was going for, but yeah, that's a fun thing. Okay, yeah, here, I got it in a bit of slow motion, so not quite as close together, so you can see kind of what's happening. They're being bounced up and then hit their head on the wall, so they kind of fall. And yeah. So that's Bubble Battlefield and my thoughts on the map. I of course love the map a lot. It's a fun map, especially once you get to doing some of the cooler things on it. So thanks for watching, and a shout out to Mad Garden for letting me work with him and developing this map.